First of all, I welcome all the students and the participants who are attending this live lecture. See this, in this today's live lecture, we shall discuss the next part of this numerical analysis, and that part is interpolation for unequal intervals of the arguments. That means we have to discuss the interpolation formulae, but which has unequal arguments. See this, unequal arguments. Actually, we have to solve this part. We are here in this part, that is interpolation for unequal intervals of the argument. Actually, this is the separate chapter. This is the separate chapter, chapter number 2 from the Saxena's book. Okay, see this, this is the chapter number 2. And also we shall discuss the divided differences with unequal interval. We shall discuss this matter. So here you know that in the first chapter we have studied the function, argument, entries, but in each argument we have studied here the function such that interpolation with unequal interval argument. See this, in the previous chapter, in the previous study, we have discussed the values of x such that a plus h, a plus 2h, a plus 3h, means each argument are at equidistant, means at a distance h. Difference between any two successive arguments is always constant, that is h, and which is equal. Which is equal. See this, we have seen x such that a plus h, a plus 2h, a plus 3h. See this, there is a h. The difference between this is h. Difference between these two arguments is again h. So this is a equal interval. This is an equal interval. By using this condition under the equal interval, we have discussed two formulae, that is Newton's Gregory interpolation, forward interpolation formula, Newton Gregory backward interpolation formula. Both the formulae are applicable only for equal intervals. But if there is an unequal interval, then what we have to do? Then how to solve such problems? We shall discuss in this chapter. अभी देखो, ये जो इक्वल इंटरवल है, हर एक इंटरवल की जो डिफरेंस है वो h है, सम प्रॉब्लम में 1 होती है. तो उसी के आधार पे हमने फॉरवर्ड इंटरपोलेशन फार्मूला, न्यूटन्स बैकवर्ड इंटरपोलेशन फार्मूला डिस्कस किए है. उसी के आधार पे हमने बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम भी सॉल्व किए. लेकिन अगर इंटरवल इक्वल नहीं है, देन व्हाट वी हैव टू डू? देन हाउ टू सॉल्व सच प्रॉब्लेम्स? आता फॉर एक्झाम्पल x इज इक्वल्स टू, मला हे सांगा बरं, इक्वल इंटरवलचं उदाहरण आहे का? कसं आहे? 0, 4, 8, 12, 16. Then the corresponding value of x is f of 0, f of 4, f of 8, f of 12, f of 16. If we observe this, then here the interval is h is equals to 4. Here the interval is h is equals to 4. That means this goes to the equal interval. On such problems we have discussed by using Newton's Gregory interpolation formulae. We have solved such problems by using the Newton's Gregory interpolation formula. Also we have discussed the missing term. Any missing term we can find. But if the problem is as like that, see this, if the problem is as like that, in this, see this, in this chapter we shall study the functions or the intervals which are unequal, which are unequal. Okay, बरोबर आहे. स्वप्नील, हर्षदा जोशी, ऋतुजा, Krishna Dokade, very nice. We shall discuss what is the concept of here in this section. We shall discuss the interpolation for unequal intervals or unequal arguments. Arguments means the values of x. Entries means the values of f of x, such as x such that suppose 1, 2, 5, 8, 9, in this way dot dot dot. Then whatever may be f of x is equals to f of a, f of 2, f of 5, f of 8, f of 9, in this way. See this, in this example, the argument or the values of x are such that 1, 2. इथं difference कितीचा आहे? 1 चा. In the second case, there is a difference between these. This is the difference 1. Here in this case, the difference is 3. 5 minus 2 means 3. Here in this case, the difference is 3. Here in this case, the difference is 1. That means these differences are not same. We have required equal interval, means each differences must be same, that is 1, 1, 1 or 3, 3, 3, whatever may be. In this case, in this example, the arguments are having unequal interval. Unequal interval. So, for this purpose, we shall discuss the divided forward difference table, forward difference, backward difference. It is for equal interval. And for unequal interval, in such a cases, in this example, the arguments having unequal intervals, in such cases, we have to define divided differences. Divided differences. That means the differences which can be obtained from the unequal interval, the differences which can be obtained by using the unequal interval, that differences are known as divided differences. That differences are known as divided differences. Okay. So, now we shall discuss the divided differences. Divided differences. With unequal arguments with unequal arguments. So, divided differences with unequal arguments. The differences obtained from unequal intervals are known as divided differences. Are known as divided differences means if there are unequal intervals, see this, for this example the unequal interval is here because h is, in the first case h is 1, in the second case, 1 minute, in the second, first the value, see this, values of x is 1, first value of x is 1, second 2, third is 5, fourth is 8, fifth is 9, that means interval in between each argument is not equal, so such arguments are called as unequal arguments. Such arguments are called as unequal arguments. Now, how to operate the differences of such arguments? The differences which are obtained from the unequal argument is called as divided differences. Differences which are obtained from unequal arguments are called as divided differences. Okay. Now we shall discuss this. Okay. Now how to find the divided differences we shall discuss. Let f of x naught, f1 now, f of x naught, f of x1, f of x2, dot 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 f of xn be the entries corresponding to the arguments x0, x1, x2 dot 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 xn, where the intervals x1 minus x0, x2 minus x1, x3 minus x2 dot 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 xn minus xn minus 1. That means differences between the values of these x1, x2. So you see this is x1, this is x2, this is x3, sorry, we can consider this is x0, x1, x2, x3, x4. Then x2, x1 minus x0, x2 minus x1, these are the differences in between the arguments, and which are unequal, may not be equal. See this, may not be equal, that is some of them will be equal but all are not unequal, that is not necessarily equally spaced, not necessarily equally spaced, then the divided differences, then the divided differences are defined as follows. The divided differences are defined as follows, such that, see this, x such that x0, x1, x2, x3, dot 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 xn. See this, these are unequal, or it is not equispaced, not equal, that is unequal interval. See, this is very most important condition. Then there f of x defined as f of 0, f of x1, f of x2, f of x3, dot 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 f of xn. हे अनइक्वल इन आर्ग्युमेंट आहेत, लक्षात घ्या, अनइक्वल इंटरवल. दिस इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. So these are the unequal intervals. So how to find the divided difference? So the first, how to define this? The first divided difference, the first divided difference of f of x, first divided difference of f of x for the two arguments x0 comma x1, you can take for this, or x1 comma x2 or x2 comma x3 dot dot dot, then we get, which is defined as etc, are defined as now how to define this first divided difference, which is denoted by delta dash. See this notation, delta dash means first divided difference, first divided difference of f of x naught over x1, x naught नंतर x1 असतं ना, which is given by f of x naught, which is also denoted by f of x naught comma x1, which is given by f of x naught minus f of x1 divided by x naught minus x1. Or you can write in this way also, f of x1 minus x naught divided by x1 minus x naught. असं पण लिहिता येतं, क्रम बदलून लिहिता येतं, पण एकच लक्षात ठेवा. So this is the first divided difference, delta dash of f of x naught means first divided difference of f of x naught over x1 or with x1. First divided difference delta dash over x1 of f of x naught, we can write f of x0 comma x1. In this way we can also write f of x0 minus f of x1 divided by x0 minus x1. Students, now also tell me, we can find also, this is suppose A. Now we also write the second difference, first difference over x2. So delta dash over x2 of f of x1, how we can write this as f of x1 over x2, f of x1 comma x2. See this, first order divided difference of f of x1 over x2, which is also denoted by f of x1 comma x2, and which is defined as, याला कसं डिफाइन करावं लागेल रे स्टुडंट्स, f of x1 minus f of x2 divide by x1 minus x2. See, in this way we can obtain, similarly we can write delta dash f of x2 over x3, which is denoted by, आता ह्याचं definition सांगा रे students, how to write f of x2 comma x3, which is equals to, this is the first divided difference. Divided difference is denoted by delta dash f of x2 minus x3 divide by x2 minus x3. So in this way we can obtain the first divided difference dot 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 delta dash of f of, see this, x0 असेल तर x1 असतो, so we can write f of xn over xn plus 1. इथं f of xn घेतलं तर इथं f of xn plus 1 घ्यावं लागतं. See this, note that. See this, in this case delta dash f of xn over xn plus 1 is like this, delta dash f of x2 over x3 means first, delta means first forward difference, first divided difference, forward म्हणायचं नाही आता इथं, first divided difference of f of x2 divided by over x3, delta dash f of x2 over x3, or it is also known as a divided difference of f of x2 over x3, which is also denoted by f of x2 comma x3, which is also defined as f of x2 minus x3 divided by x2 minus x3. So we can, how we can write this? Now you tell me students, which is denoted by f of xn comma xn plus 1, which is equals to f of xn minus f of xn plus 1 divided by xn minus xn plus 1. Thus we can obtain the first order, thus we can obtain the first divided difference of any argument. आता आपण सेकंड डिवायडेड डिफरन्स कसं घेऊ शकतो पहा. सेकंड, द सेकंड डिवायडेड डिफरन्स now also we have to find out the second divided difference. How we can get the second divided difference? The second divided difference means second order, second time, difference of first difference which gives the second difference. Second divided difference of f of x for the three arguments x0, x1, x2, x0, x1, x2 is defined as, how to define the second? See this, divided difference is denoted by delta dash. See this, divided difference is denoted by delta dash. Its second divided difference is denoted by delta dash 2, or it is also known as the delta dash square. Delta dash 2 of f of x0 over x1 comma x2. Second divided difference we can obtain from the 3 arguments. Second divided difference can be obtained from the 3 arguments, and which is also denoted by delta 2 f of x0. delta dash नाही लिहिला तरी चालतो. delta 2 f of x0 यालाच असं सुद्धा लिहिता येईल. हा, ओके, नो प्रॉब्लेम. f of x0 comma x1 comma x2 which is equals to the difference of first forward difference. या दोघांचा डिफरन्स घ्या. difference of first forward difference, first forward divided difference, difference of first divided difference which gives the second divided difference. So it is, आता या दोघांचा डिफरन्स घ्या. f of x0 comma x1 minus f of x1 comma x2 divided by x0 to x1. So we can write this as f of x0 comma x1 minus f of x1 comma x2 divided by direct x0 to x3, x0 to x2. See this, this is the second divided difference of argument x0, x1, x2. I also the second divided difference for, आता हे 1 आर्ग्युमेंट साठी झाला, 3 आर्ग्युमेंट साठी, 4 आर्ग्युमेंट साठी अशा पद्धतीने सेकंड डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स आपण घेऊ शकतो. n आर्ग्युमेंट साठी तर कसं घ्यावं लागेल मग? आता 4 साठी घ्यायचं झालं तर कसं घ्यावं लागेल? x0 to x1, x1 to x2, we can take this way. The second divided difference for the arguments x0, x1, x2, x3. आता या 3 आर्ग्युमेंटचे घ्यायचे. हाऊ वी कॅन टेक्स हिअर is defined as delta dash 2 of f of x0 over x2, x3, x1. See this, over x1, x2, x3. Over we can write x0, x1, x2, x3, which is also denoted by f of x0, x1, x2, x3, which is given by f of x0, x1, x2 minus f of x1, x2, x3 divided by x0 minus x3. म्हणजे अशा 4 आर्ग्युमेंटचा जर तुम्हाला डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स घ्यायचा असेल, इफ वी वांट टू टेक द डिफरन्स ऑफ 4 arguments, then we have to define the second divided difference delta dash 2 of f0 over x1 comma x2 comma x3, which is also denoted by f of x0, x1, x2, x3, and which is defined as f of x0 comma x1 comma x2 minus f of x1 x2 x3 divided by x0 minus x3. In general, see this, in general, now we have to take the second order divided difference of n plus 1 argument. In general, we can take, in general, the nth divided difference, इथं ही थर्ड ऑर्डर झाली रे, ही ॲक्च्युअली थर्ड ऑर्डर, हे थर्ड ऑर्डर म्हणतात त्याला, थर्ड ऑर्डर. दिस इज द थर्ड ऑर्डर. Third order which is denoted by 3. This is equation number 3. Also, हा याला सेकंड ऑर्डर नाही, थर्ड ऑर्डर म्हणा, कारण त्यात 3 एलिमेंट घेतलेले आहेत, 3 एलिमेंट्स, 4 एलिमेंट घेतले. सो in this way we can take, in general, the nth divided difference, nth, this is the third divided difference, this is the second divided difference, this is the first divided difference. Now in general, the nth divided difference for n plus 1 argument which are x0, x1, x2 dot 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 xn, as how we can write here, see this, we can write in this way, delta dash means divided difference of nth divided difference over we can write x1 x2 dot 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 xn minus 1 of f of x0, which is also denoted by f of x0 x1 x2 dot 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 xn, which is given by, how we can define this, मी खाली लिहितो इथं डिफरेंस नहीं व्हायचा, which is defined as, अब इसको इस तरह से डिफाइन करना है, f of x0 x1 x2 dot 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 xn minus 1 minus f of x1 x2 x3 dot 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 xn divided by x0 minus xn. See this is a nth divided difference. म्हटले की x0 minus xn, लक्षात घ्या. You note that for the nth divided difference we can define as a denominator, see this, x0 minus xn. For third divided difference, denominator will be x0 minus x3. For the second divided difference, denominator will be x0 minus x2. Numerator is f of x0 minus x0 x1 f of x1 x2. म्हणजे लक्षात ठेवा, तुम्हाला जेवढा डिवायडेड डिफरन्स घ्यायचा आहे, थर्ड फोर्थ एन, तर डिनॉमिनेटरमध्ये म्हणजे थर्ड डिवायडेड डिफरन्स असला, then denominator will be x0 minus x3. Fourth divided difference असला, denominator will be x0 minus x4. लक्षात घ्या, फोर्थ डिवायडेड डिफरन्सला. तर सर्वांनी स्टुडंट्स, यू राईट डाऊन द डेफिनेशन फॉर फोर्थ डिवायडेड डिफरन्स. सर्वांनी चॅट बॉक्समध्ये फोर्थ डिवायडेड डिफरन्सची डेफिनेशन लिहा. तर अशा पद्धतीनं हा आपण nth डिवायडेड डिफरन्स काढू शकतो. नाउ वी कॅन कन्स्ट्रक्ट द डिवायडेड डिफरन्स टेबल. हाऊ टू कन्स्ट्रक्ट द डिवायडेड डिफरन्स टेबल? सो दिस डिवायडेड डिफरन्स टेबल, Now we have to construct the divided difference table in such a way that suppose this is the value of x denoted by argument which are unequal or unequal equispaced argument, which is unequal spaced argument, means h is not constant. Then entry means we shall denote this as a f of x. Now how we can write, suppose this is the first value x0, x1, x2, x3. In this way we can take any value, that is x4, okay, this is a x5. Now the corresponding values of functions are f of x0, f of x1, f of x2, f of x3, f of x4, f of x5. Then its divided difference is denoted by first divided difference. First divided difference, which is denoted by delta dash f of x. How we can write? That means difference between two is f of x0 comma x1, which is defined as f of x0 minus f of x1 divided by x0 minus x1. So this can be written as, very good, Sakshi Kadam, Priyanka Dhanure, very nice, Pranavati, very good. So this is a f of x1 comma x2, this is f of x2 comma x3, this difference f of x3 comma x4, this difference f of x4 comma x5, means difference between two successive terms. Now second divided difference, delta dash 2 f of x, delta dash 2 f of x. How we can divide this? Difference between two, f of x0, x1, x2, f of x0, x1, x2, x3, f of x2, x3, x4, this is f of x3, x4, x5. This is the second divided difference. It can be obtained in such a way that f of x2 comma x1 minus f of x1 comma x2 divided by x0 minus x2. Okay, the third divided difference, delta dash 3 f of x, so f of x0, x1, x2, x3, this is f of x1, x2, x3, x4, this is f of x2, x3, x4, x5. हे येताना तुम्हाला करता येईल आता. फोर्थ divided difference, delta dash 4 f of x, which is given by f of x0, x1, x2, x3, x4 आणि इथं येतं f of x0, x1, x2, x3, x4 and x5. x5 इथं x5 राहिला पहा, x2, x3, x4, x5. आता लास्ट राहिला पहा फिफ्थ डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स, याच्या पुढे लिहा विच इज इक्वल्स टू, then fifth divided difference which is given by delta dash 5 f of x. How we can write, students? Then we have to write f of x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. Thus the final is fifth divided difference. काढता येईल ना तुम्हाला? So we can construct the differences for divided difference. Means in this case there are x0, x1, x2, x3 means 6 arguments are given. So we will get fifth difference is constant, means fix. Fifth difference will be constant. So इस तरह से आपको इसका solution लेना है. कारण लास्ट एंट्री काय आहे ते सांगा. ओके, बरोबर आहे प्रमोद भोसले. The last entry will be, last difference will be f of x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. इथं बसत नाही, पुढे टेबलला जागा मिळत नाही म्हणून मी इथं बाजूला लिहिलं, लक्षात घ्या. पण अशा पद्धतीनं डिवाइडेड डिफरन्सेस तयार करायचे. तर डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स तुम्हाला समजतंय का? पहा कधी वापरलं जातं डिवाइडेड डिफरन्सेस. इफ देयर आर unequal interval, then we have to take the differences and that differences are called as the divided differences. So the first divided difference can be defined in such a way that delta dash f of 0 over x1, which is also denoted by f of x0 comma x1, and which is given by the value f of 0 minus f of x1 divided by x0 minus x1. In this way, this is the first divided difference. This is the second divided difference, delta dash 2 f of x0 over x1 comma x2. We can write, हाँ ठीक है, आश्रिया गोरटे, हर्षदा जोशी, okay. So the second divided difference can be written as f of x0, x1, x2. f of x0 comma x1 minus f of x1 comma x2 divided by x0 minus x2. This is the third divided difference, delta dash 3 of f0 over x1, x2, x3, or which is also denoted by f of x0 comma x1 comma x2 comma x3, and which is calculated by the formula f of x0 comma x1 comma x2 minus f of x1 comma x2 comma x3 divided by x0 minus x3. In general we can write this as, यालाच जनरली आपण असं लिहू शकतो, nth divided difference, that is the delta dash n of f of x0. In this way we can obtain. अशा पद्धतीने आपण nth डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स कॅल्क्युलेट करू शकतो. आणि हाच आपण टेबलवरनं सुद्धा असा कॅल्क्युलेट करू शकतो. डिवाइडेड डिफरन्स टेबल वी कॅन राईट इन दिस वे. दीज आर द आर्ग्युमेंट विच आर unequal interval which are not equispaced arguments, x0, x1, x. Their corresponding entries are f of x0, f of x1 in this way. So we can write So we can divide first divided difference, second divided difference, third divided difference. In this way we can obtain. आता ॲक्च्युअली उद्याला हा लास्ट प्रॉब्लेम कोणता राहिला होता रे वैष्णवी? लास्टचा प्रॉब्लेम नाही आला का? कोणता होता लास्टचा प्रॉब्लेम? ठीक आहे, तू मला हां लास्टचा प्रॉब्लेम मला व्हॉट्सअपवर पाठव, मी तुला डिस्कस करतो. आणि वैष्णवी तो व्हॉट्सअपवर पाठव, तुला कोणता नाही आला तो त्याचं मी सोल्युशन काढून तुला पाठवून देतो. जे समजलं नाही ते परत एकदा समजून सांगतो. तो प्रॉब्लेम कोणता एकदा स्क्रीनशॉट पाठव, मी उद्याला तो परत डिस्कस करतो. ओके वैष्णवी, मलाच आता आठवणार नाही लास्टचा प्रॉब्लेम कोणता आहे, कारण खूप प्रॉब्लेम असतात, मी असेच रॅन्डमली घेतलेले असतात. त्यामुळं 2-3 पुस्तकातून जसा येईल तसा घेतलेला असतो, जसा येईल तसा दिलेला असतो. त्यामुळं कोणता लास्टचा प्रॉब्लेम मला सांगता नाही येणार, तरी तू मला विचार, मी सांगतो. ठीक आहे जान्हवी डगे, वी शॅल सी दॅट प्रॉब्लेम, सोल्युशन ऑफ दॅट प्रॉब्लेम. ओके, नाउ वी शॅल स्टॉप हिअर. नमस्कार, गुड बाय.